Unless you've been living under a rock, you will have seen the downfall of the FTX centralized exchange has rocked the crypto industry. And now many people are looking for decentralized alternatives rather than wait for government regulation. But they're finding it difficult to navigate the complex DEX landscape and still retain all the advanced tools and features that we're all used to on the big centralized platforms. Well, after hours of research, I think I've found the best solution available, which is the DEX platform DYDX. And I want to share with you the top reasons why this is the case, including a slick, intuitive trading interface with over 20 times leverage, no KYC, zero fees, rewards just for normal trading, deep liquidity, a good iOS app, a Discord community, staking yields, trading competitions, and a bunch of other great features. And while I've been making this video, it's made me question, why have we all been using these centralized platforms for so long when there was a fantastic decentralized solution right under our nose? If that sounds interesting to you, let's dig in and get at it.
Like I'm on my tiptoes, baby. You think a little too small. I got big goals, baby. Ain't where the money at. Look, I just need the info. Pronto, I go and get it, to split it with my kinfolk daily. And I'm the type of that might change my number on you. Yeah, that's how you react when people took a slumber on you. Pretty brown skin, baby. I can see the summer on you. You see all the bread, and I know it make you wonder, don't you, don't you, don't you? Ooh.
So to understand why I think DYDX is currently the best DEX available on the market, I've created this table to compare the central exchanges to the different types of DEX and understand where DYDX fits into the overall ecosystem. So obviously FTX is now toast, so I'm going to use Bybit as an example here. So Bybit is obviously a central exchange, so it's on the left of this x-axis. On the left-hand y-axis, it has lots and lots of features and products that you can use when you're actually trading. And then on the right-hand y-axis, in terms of custody, you're handing that over and trusting them to look after that for you. Now, if we go to the opposite extreme and look at the automated market maker DEXs like Uniswap or PancakeSwap or Curve and so on, this is the opposite extreme. So in this case, it's totally decentralized. It has very simplistic functionality because mainly you're just swapping tokens and you keep total control. So not your keys, not your coins, right? But the downside here is you're sacrificing some of that functionality that you do get with the exchanges. So as a kind of middle ground, you do have platforms like DYDX that operate a hybrid model, and you're kind of getting that middling level of more features than the basic AMMs, and also you mostly keeping control over your tokens, but you do have to deposit them into the liquidity pool to then trade on the DYDX platform. So before trusting DYDX with our funds, I did some due diligence and wanted to share how they benchmark to the competition. So looking on CoinMarketCap, this is a table of all the DEXs ranked based on a combination of trading volume and market share. And they're actually coming in second overall, which is very encouraging. And then looking at market cap, I plotted the ones I had on the table before, and they're coming in around third, so just behind Uniswap and PancakeSwap, but above Balancer and 1inch. So again, pretty good there. Looking at revenues, this is actually revenues across all chains and platforms, and yeah, they're coming in fourth, so that's really promising to see. I also found this on Twitter, which is some other statistics which places them in second, again around 40 million in revenues. So they're definitely a profitable business. And actually this dashboard is quite interesting. Looking at revenue over time, we can see a definite uptick here in November, which is obviously when FTX has gone down and a lot of users are shifting over to DeFi, and this is being reflected in higher revenues for DYDX. So overall, it's looking good so far. Next, let's jump in and see the platform. So the whole point of using DYDX is to maintain control of your coins. So it works by connecting to our hot wallet. And you can see here in my MetaMask, I've already got some USDC that I'm going to deposit into DYDX and some Ethereum to pay the gas fees for that transaction. So if we go to the DYDX homepage and click on Trade Now, it'll take you to the portfolio view where we can connect our wallet. Click Connect Wallet. You can use other wallets, but I prefer MetaMask, so select MetaMask. And now I'm going to go through the prompts to allow it to connect to my wallet. Just click Connect. Have to acknowledge all the terms and conditions. You also have to now send a request to link it together. So I'll just click through and accept all of this. Sign that transaction. There's no fee for this part. Sign there. So now we've connected MetaMask, we can deposit our funds onto the platform to start trading. So come in here, click deposit funds. I'm only going to put in $100 of USDC for the demo, but if you actually put in over $500, it says here you can do this with 0 gas fees, which is a really good feature. Anyway, click confirm deposit and then just follow through the prompts again to make the transaction. So now that has completed, we can see here the $100 of USDC has arrived into this portfolio view. And if you scroll to the bottom, it actually shows you all the different trading pairs for the perpetual futures available on the platform. So if you want to trade, click on trade at the top and it takes you to the main interface. And this should look familiar to anyone who's traded futures before. Obviously, you've got your order book on the left here, price in the middle, and there's one or two other nice features. So you can look at the depth either side of the current price, what's the current funding rate, and it'll also show you the details of that contract, in this case, Bitcoin. Also, it does have trading view built in if you want to draw your trend lines directly in here. So next, let's actually do a trade and I'll show live how this works. So let's start just with a simple market order. I'm going to buy $100 of Bitcoin. So come in here, put 100, leverage is at 1 times. Just keep this very simple and click market order. And there you go, it's gone through, bought $100 of Bitcoin. And if I click down the bottom here, now shows me my live position. Okay, now the price has moved up slightly. I want to sell the position, although I want to ensure that I go back to exactly 0. To do that, make sure to select reduce only in this advanced option on the left here. And then let's click close position. Gives me the pop-up down the bottom. Close position, and there you go, it's executed the sell order. It should show me now those 2 orders, and that's it. Simple as that. So the other great thing about DYDX is you can trade with up to 20 times leverage. You can see that here on the execution screen. If you click slider, move this backwards and forwards, you can select any range you want within that. So let's do a trade example. Let's put on a short. We're going to use that $100 again. And this time, I'm just going to select 2 times leverage just to keep this modest. So that would be around $200 from my $100. So let's place the market order. And quick as that, yeah, it's already in. We're now short. And you can see my order's gone through there. Shows my position. And probably just my luck, the price will now move up. So let's close this out before the price moves around. So make sure I have reduce only selected and close the position. Click close, and there you are, it's closed out. Actually looks like I got closed out flat, so no change. Now if you go back to the portfolio view, there you go. It shows my overall sort of equity left in the portfolio is 99 0.98. So I've only lost 2 cents across 2 trades. And that brings me on to my next topic, which is fees. So DYDX came out in August in this blog article here saying that they're going to offer 0 fees to all users and across all markets and trading pairs. And I think this is a really compelling offer. And if we go back to the portfolio and click on fees here, shows you the breakdown. Now, as long as you're trading less than $100,000 worth in a 30-day period, there you go. Maker fees, taker fees, both completely 0. And to be honest, even if you were trading more than that, if you run down the list here, all of the fees are like super low. I mean, if I compare this to Binance, for example, see their maker taker is around 0.07, 0.06, so on and so on. But DYDX is far lower than that. It's a fraction. And you can even get it even cheaper if you do buy some of the DYDX tokens. You can get further fee discounts. Now, you might be wondering how this is possible, and it's because DYDX is actually built on the layer 2 blockchain called Starkware, which sits on top of Ethereum. In the FAQs, it explains about this, where it says, to significantly scale trading, DYDX and Starkware have built a layer 2 protocol, and traders can expect significantly lower gas costs and in turn much lower trading fees and minimum trade sizes. So it's a win-win all round, really. Another nice bonus on this platform is you can actually earn rewards from your everyday trading activity. And it talks about that up here where it says rewards, and it explains that every 28 days over 2 million DYDX tokens are distributed across all of the traders on the platform, and they calculate this based on a ratio of any fees you earn as a market maker or liquidity provider versus fees you pay as a taker. So they do have documentation and you can read exactly how they calculate this. I'm not going to go into that now, but it's just a nice extra little bonus you get from using the platform, and it makes a nice change compared to, you know, Binance and Coinbase and all the big centralized guys where you're paying them fees, whereas with this, because it's decentralized, you're actually getting a share of the, you know, value of the platform. I really like that. So a few other features you might want to check out as you're learning your way around the platform. There's a great documentation section if you get stuck with anything or you're not sure how it works. They do have a private Discord community you can join and get help from other members. There's also a staking program, so you can actually buy the DYDX token and stake and earn yield from that as well. They also have some trading competitions with some rewards, which are quite fun. And last of all, I found this dashboard with loads more stats around number of users, liquidations, volume, value locked, open interest, and so on. And you can really dig into that. Gives you an idea of how much activity is going on the platform, which is quite interesting. Looking to the future, there's also a lot of new updates coming to the platform. So they announced in October they're actually going to build a fiat on-ramp directly in the DEX, partnering with Banxa. And that would be really nice, so you don't have to first load your MetaMask with a central exchange. You can just do everything in DYDX. So definitely looking out for that. And then some other milestones I've found here, they're going to be adding more token emissions and rewards, increased wallet compatibility, stablecoin integration, and just overall I get a good vibe that there's a lot of development and work going into this platform, and it's going to be sticking around and just going to have more and more features to use, which only gets better for the traders and users like us. So the features are bang on, fees are super low, but what about the liquidity? Well, if you look on the portfolio tab, scroll down, and it does show you for every coin trading pair the current open interest and the 24-hour volume, and this updates real time. So for Bitcoin, it's currently around $86 million. And if we do a comparison on CoinGecko, here's Bitcoin, here are all the exchanges, and there's DYDX around halfway down the list. Now, comparing that 87 million, that's pretty similar to a lot of the other exchanges like BitGet, Kraken, KuCoin, all right, Bybit a little bit more. The only one that's a lot larger is Binance up here with around 3 billion. But, you know, for most retail traders who want to put on trades or get out, there's more than enough liquidity here to do your trades without affecting the price at all. But this is all great, but you want to make sure you can actually get your funds off. You don't want to spend months trading on here, make a load of P&L, and then you can't actually cash out. So next, I'm going to demo withdrawing some funds. So come back to the portfolio view and click withdraw. I'm just going to take out 10 USDC, but because of the gas fees, that would cost $2. So if you're not in a rush, you can select the slow option and it will reduce the fees down to less than 1 cent, although it may take up to 12 hours, but I don't mind. So confirm that, click withdraw, and now it's already put in that request and I should get that back into my MetaMask, and I'll post that update once it arrives. So it's just over 24 hours on the next day, and I've received this notification saying the slow withdrawal request has been confirmed. And now if I click withdraw, it brings up MetaMask, and you can see here the gas fees are much lower. It's around about $1.50 worth of ETH. So I'll click confirm. So now we have to wait for it to actually process on the blockchain. And now if you look in MetaMask, you can see on the activity tab that withdrawal is completed. And if you go back to my assets, there you go. The 10 extra USDC worth of dollars is now been added back into my MetaMask. And if I go into DYDX, you can see my new balance has gone down to $89. So withdrawal works, we're good to go. Another nice touch, DYDX has a great app you can download in the App Store. Once installed, open the app and then you'll see the different markets and your profile section. And to get started, click on the blue play button to connect your MetaMask wallet, which you also need installed on your device. And then just follow the prompts and click to sign the transactions, just like we did when we set it up on the desktop version. And the app will get everything ready so that you can start trading. And now you can see on here, there's my portfolio of that 90 or so dollars I have left because I've taken out the $10. And here are all the markets available to trade straight off your phone. Really nice feature for DeFi, and I was really impressed with that. Now, my only criticism of DYDX is you can no longer trade spot markets on the platform. And this is because they recently announced that they were winding this down, essentially because spot markets operated on layer 1 Ethereum, which had too high gas fees, the transaction speed was too slow, and they also said that 99% of volumes from users was all happening on the perpetual futures. So they decided to shut it down. Now, this does create a problem if you want to trade spot, but you also want the order book functionality like stop losses, limit orders, and so on. So I did some looking around, and I did manage to find there is another platform called ZigZag, which basically works pretty much the same as DYDX, but it only does spot. So here is, let me just delete that. Here is ZigZag, similar homepage. Just click start trading and it will take you to the app. And this is the interface for ZigZag, which looks quite similar to DYDX, but it's only for spot. And it's the same idea. You just connect your wallet, connect up MetaMask and go through the similar process. And then you can buy and sell on this DEX if you want to trade spot. So that's a great alternative if that's your use case. But if you want the leverage and the futures, then definitely I would stick with DYDX. So if you've made it this far and you're still on the fence, don't worry, I've made this summary table to recap the differences between DYDX and the central exchanges. So it's a decentralized hybrid order book model, which means you do keep control of your coins by using the MetaMask hot wallet and liquidity pool. However, you do sacrifice some features, although it has almost as many on this DEX. In terms of usability, though, it's not quite as easy, and really it's for more advanced users. You do remove that platform risk of custody of your coins being handed over. However, you introduce more user risk and smart contract risk of making a mistake on the DEX with no one central person to help you. In terms of liquidity, it's not quite as high, but as we saw for most users, and particularly retail, there's more than enough depth there for any trading. And lastly, trading fees are generally quite a bit lower. However, some of the trading rewards might be a little different. Now, to wrap up, I just wanted to leave you with this and come back to the original Bitcoin white paper by Satoshi Nakamoto. And this is super interesting. I found here in the introduction, on the first sentence, he says, commerce on the internet has come to rely almost exclusively on financial institutions serving as trusted third parties to process electronic payments. While the system works well enough for most transactions, it still suffers from the inherent weaknesses of the trust-based model. Interesting. He goes on to say, what is needed is an electronic payment system based on cryptographic proof instead of trust, allowing two willing parties to transact directly with each other without the need for a trusted third party. So maybe Satoshi was onto something originally. You know, Bitcoin was started as a peer-to-peer payment system, and it just baffles me why we can't use these kind of decentralized DEXs to maintain that peer-to-peer decentralized way of doing everything. And that's in the spirit of what this was all about in the first place. So I'll leave that with you to think about. So to wrap up, if you've gotten value out of the video, drop me a like and let me know in the comments what you think of DYDX. Also, if you'd like to see more videos like this, hit the subscribe and notification bell. And if you do want to try DYDX, I've also put a link to the DYDX platform. And if you use my link and you're trading higher volumes, you'll get even lower fees. And they also have some bonus and rewards programs running through my link. So check that out. Otherwise, I hope you've enjoyed it. I've had a blast, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Yeah, boom, the sound consumes. Get the ill style and this shit go boom, bang, like boomerang slang when we come back. Every man, every woman hype on the track. Basement freaking, get the shit we speaking, tweaking on the floor, you want more. Music is our addiction, get the friction, like a needle to the record, coming with the ick shit, ill shit, fiction, faction, tactics. Everybody know it's every man come back quick. Yeah, you coming with the hip hop